It's January 20th, 1953, the height of the Cold War, and on this day, the world's most famous general, Dwight D. Eisenhower, is about to become president. This inauguration holds some great hidden history and facts, along with some new traditions. We will be taking you through the events leading up to the inauguration day and the day of January 20th, 1953, including the spectacular parade and parties. So let's dig into the archives to find some rarely seen footage and pictures, along with some hidden history you never knew. Days before the 1953 Eisenhower inauguration, people flocked to Washington, D.C., using all forms of mass transit. Major railroads like the Santa Fe, Union Pacific, and Burlington Northern ran special trains, often called Eisenhower Specials, bringing crowds from across America, especially from the Midwest and West, using streamlined equipment for the big event, reflecting Ike's popularity and the era's strong rail travel culture. Thousands of spectators and performers began to arrive at DC's Union Station, including the president-elect and his wife, Mamie. Here is some sad hidden history. 5 days before the inauguration, there was a major train accident at Washington Union Station. One of these special trains, the Pennsylvania Railroad Federal Express, lost its brakes, crashed through the concourse wall, and plunged into the basement, injuring 87 people, but miraculously causing no fatalities. It was decided to make temporary repairs to accommodate for the expected crowd. Working round the clock, the derailed cars were removed, the engine lowered into the basement, and a construction company erected a temporary wooden floor over the hole in the concourse and covered it with a quick-drying asphalt in just 2 days. The workers also built a temporary station master's office and newsstand in time for the crowds coming into D.C. On the morning of the inauguration, the Eisenhowers attended church service, then made their way to the White House to pick up the Trumans. In a tradition of transition, the outgoing president, Harry S. Truman, rode with Eisenhower to the U.S. Capitol. Notice their hats. Both are wearing Homburg-type hats, skipping the traditional top hat, setting a slightly more relaxed tone for the new era. Then the two presidents made their way down Pennsylvania Avenue to the U.S. Capitol. So when did they start using the U.S. Capitol for inaugurations? It started with our third president, Thomas Jefferson, in 1801. He was the first president sworn in at the new permanent Capitol, though outdoor ceremonies on the East Portico began with Andrew Jackson in 1829, with the West Front becoming standard from Ronald Reagan's 1981 inauguration onward. Take a look at the platform at this inauguration. It was a reunion of power. Former President Herbert Hoover is seated nearby, a silent reminder of the past. And of course, the incoming Vice President, Richard M. Nixon, is preparing to take his oath.
And that I will well and faithfully execute the office upon which I am about to embark. So help me God. So help me God.
For Nixon, this is a huge moment, cementing his rise after the intense drama during the campaign. He faced accusations of operating a secret slush fund for personal gain, which threatened to derail the ticket. When Eisenhower takes his oath, notice that he puts his hand on two Bibles. One is his own personal West Point Bible. The other is the very same Bible used by George Washington when he took his first presidential oath in 1789.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear.
I, Dwight D. Eisenhower, do solemnly swear
That you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States
And will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
After taking the oath of office, and before he gave his address, Eisenhower breaks with tradition and offers a personal prayer he wrote that very morning. Before we move on, I wanted to share this letter I found in the archives. During the 1952-1953 flu season, the Americans and Europe experienced widespread outbreaks of influenza. Beginning the first week of January 1953, the flu in epidemic proportions emerged in various states in the United States. The letter is about this epidemic and was produced on January 16, 1953, just before the inauguration. It reads in part,
Vaccination against influenza, now epidemic in various parts of the country, is not on the pre-inaugural day schedule for either President Truman or President-elect Eisenhower. At the White House, the president's physician, Major General Wallace H. Graham, said that the Truman family had been vaccinated against influenza in the past and would be in the future whenever he thinks they should be. But the current outbreaks apparently do not at present seem enough of a threat for General Graham to advise the vaccination now. President-elect Eisenhower's physician, Major General Howard Snyder, told Science Service in a telephone interview that the question of vaccination of the Eisenhowers has been under consideration. Nothing has been decided yet, however, and General Snyder is not sure that he will advise it. He feels that right now would be a bad time because of the possibility of a reaction. When asked whether he felt, as some physicians do, that the vaccination against influenza is as bad as the disease, he chuckled but made no comment. President-elect Eisenhower was vaccinated against influenza when he was abroad, General Snyder said.
After the ceremony, the parade began, and it was a spectacle unlike any other. It stretched for over 4.5 hours, featuring the pomp you would expect. But also the power of the new atomic age. The U.S. military showcased its massive 280 millimeter atomic cannon rolling down the street. Eisenhower and his wife, Mamie, led the parade in a white Cadillac, making them the first president and first lady to ride together during this type of event. Joining them in the reviewing stands was former President Herbert Hoover and Ike's legendary World War II boss, General George Marshall. But the most legendary, unbelievable moment happened when a professional cowboy and trick rider named Monty Montana paused in front of the reviewing stands. He pulled out his rope, and in front of thousands, he did the unthinkable. He lassoed the President of the United States. Ike and Nixon were reportedly laughing so hard, it became one of the greatest unscripted moments in inaugural history. The 1953 inauguration had two main inaugural balls, one at the National Guard Armory and the other at Georgetown University. Mamie's Eisenhower inaugural gown was a sparkling pink silk dress with 2,000 plus rhinestones. It wasn't just fashion. It embodied her that night as the belle of the ball debut, revealing her strategic use of color, which came to be called Mamie Pink. Her official portrait captures this iconic dress, showcasing the glamour and defining her style. I had the pleasure of visiting the Eisenhower Library in Kansas, where they have her Mamie Pink style definitely on display. Her inauguration dress is now at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. Here is a fun fact about the 1957 second-term inauguration. There was a private swearing-in ceremony for President Eisenhower and Vice President Nixon on January 20th, 1957. This was private because January 20th fell on a Sunday, and the U.S. Constitution requires the presidential term to begin at noon on January 20th. To comply with this law, the oath was taken privately, followed by a public inauguration ceremony the next day, Monday, January 21st. The 1953 inauguration proved that even the most formal American traditions are packed with surprises. If you spotted any other famous faces in the archival footage, let us know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button to unlock more incredible hidden history like this. Thank you for joining us today. We invite you to watch all our videos from famous funerals to diving into the archives to find generations of history. And always please remember to be kind in everything you do, including the comments you make.